Yeah. Violence mars the climax of the annual Crop Over Festival in Barbados. That's our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Tuesday, August 8. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole Best. Good evening. 5 people remain hospitalized on Tuesday following a mass shooting incident at the close of Grand Cabdumont in Barbados on Monday. 1 person was killed and 20 others injured during what was the climax of the annual Crop Over Festival. The victim has been identified as 20-year-old Tarid Jr. Rock. Police Public Relations Officer Inspector Roland Cobbler said several people sustained non-threatening gunshot injuries and were transported to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital for medical attention. Media reports say that the shootings occurred along the Spring Garden Highway just on the outskirts of the capital. The reports noted that the injured were said to be spectators on the sidelines as revelers were winding down their celebrations. One of them was a 6-year-old boy who was grazed by a bullet. 2 people who witnessed the shooting suffered panic attacks and also had to receive medical attention. Police say their investigations continue and they are asking anyone with information about the shooting to come forward. Meanwhile, Attorney General Adriel Brathwaite says preliminary police investigations indicate that contrary to media reports, there was only 1 shooting incident on the Spring Garden Highway. There were reports of another shooting incident earlier in the day.
Information is that these 2 young men spotted this chap near to Westbury Road, opened fire on him with 2 firearms. He, in an attempt to evade them, ran onto Spring Garden, and they continued shooting at him, even though, of course, he was surrounded by lots of innocent people. And that's how we ended up with so many unfortunate innocent people being shot. Because of the reckless behavior displayed allegedly by these 2 young men yesterday afternoon.
Police have identified the man killed as 20-year-old Tarid Jr. Rock of 3rd Avenue, Chapman Lane, St. Michael. The Attorney General adds that up until that time, there had been very few incidents during the Crop Over Festival.
From what I am being told, this Crop Over was primarily incident-free. 4-day morning, we had 2 incidences. I'm told one around Marhill Street, where a young man was charged for possession of a firearm, and another involving 2 females who were fighting and one stabbed the other. Up until 6 o'clock yesterday afternoon, there was only 1 major incident surrounding the Grand Cabdumont, which I am told is a former police officer was stabbed out Waterford, and his assailant was shot by the police. And then we had, of course, the unfortunate incident that took place just after 6 p.m. yesterday.
Mr. Brathwaite had earlier said this morning that the security forces will get all they need to deal with the surge in gun violence being experienced in the country.
And that report is from CBC News. Hours after the newly elected Constituent Assembly in Venezuela fired the chief prosecutor, a new one has been sworn in. Tarek William Seab was sworn in on Monday following the removal of Luisa Ortega over the weekend. Seab began by blaming his predecessor for the unrest in the country, vowing that his tenure would be different. He said his office would not operate as a state within a state. Meanwhile, the government of Venezuela has begun a hunt for 10 people suspected of attempting to lead an uprising in Valencia on the weekend. The day started with the circulation of a video online of men in army fatigue claiming that they were not staging a coup but were trying to restore constitutional order and to save Venezuela from complete destruction. They attacked an army base in Valencia but were quickly defeated. Police in Belize are investigating the circumstances under which a 20-month-old child died after fire swept through his home on Sunday. Initial reports indicate that the baby boy was left home alone while his 20-year-old mother went to a nearby shop with her older son. Neighbors say they could hear the baby screaming inside but were unable to rescue him because he had been locked in. The fire department has not yet issued any statement about the incident, but neighbors say the fire at the wooden house spread to other homes in the same area, destroying 4 other buildings. Police in Dominica have released the names of the 5 young men who died tragically on Sunday when their vehicle plunged over a 400-feet precipice. They are 21-year-old Mandela Ofar, Clement Leblanc, 22, Jean-Louis Sango, 25, Jude Jean, 21, and 29-year-old Chris Masalin. St. Lucia's Prime Minister Alan Chastanet has sent his condolences to Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit and the people of Dominica, noting that he fully understands what they were going through since St. Lucia had a similar occurrence in 2011 in which 19 people died. Still in Dominica, the government has established the Dominica Geothermal Development Corporation and is seeking funding to move ahead with the construction of a geothermal plant. Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit said government would contribute 40.5 million EC dollars to the project. $30 million will come from Britain, 5.4 million from New Zealand, and 5.4 million from SIDS DOC. Skerrit said funding would also be obtained from a World Bank loan of 16.2 million EC dollars at a highly concessionary rate of 0.75% with a 10-year grace period and a 44-year repayment plan. An application was also sent out for grant funding from the United Arab Emirates Caribbean Renewable Energy Fund and is expecting between 8.1 million EC dollars and 13.5 million EC dollars to fund a battery storage system to be used on the national electricity grid. A project manager has already been recruited from New Zealand and is engaged with the Dominica Geothermal Development Corporation. The environmental and social impact assessment for the geothermal project is ongoing in the Roseau Valley. The geothermal project is expected to reduce the country's dependence on fossil fuel to generate electricity. There are calls in Guyana for government to expedite the passage of the Juvenile Offences Bill. The bill will abolish the charge of wandering and allow for alternative forms of punishment for children. Activists believe that its passage would help ease pressure on families and assure a better future for children in the system. We get more in this report from HGP Nightly News.
One of the major sores in Guyanese society is that too many children are being found wandering due to circumstances, then incarcerated and housed with other children who commit major offenses. According to the Rights of the Child Commission, the passing of the Juvenile Justice Bill will abolish the charge of wandering and allow for these children to have alternative forms of punishment.
This bill that has been in draft for over a decade, once it becomes law or it's enacted and assented to by His Excellency, will do much to alleviate the sufferings of children in difficult circumstances, because children in difficult circumstances need psychosocial support, social services support, public assistance, and not necessarily incarceration.
Commissioner of the Women and Gender Equality Commission, Nicole Cole, in an interview with Nightly News. Ms. Cole, who is also a representative of the RCC, stated that legal authorities had earlier declared that alternative methods could be instituted for children who are found wandering, instead of housing them at the NOC, but this is not being practiced.
The Honorable DPP said that while we await the Juvenile Justice Bill, there's some kind of provision that can be made to have the police stop charging children for wandering, but it is not happening.
Meanwhile, investigative and research officer of the RCC, Andre Gonzalez, told Nightly News that while the government and other stakeholders are in support of this bill, there is need for it to be speedily dealt with.
This bill is so important that we don't want it to just fall apart, or just fall by the wayside. And I believe the minister, which would be the Minister of Public Securities, again, Mr. Ramjatan, I strongly believe he too is very serious about the bill and wants to answer all questions possible.
Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, a call for a more holistic approach to sustainable agricultural development in the region. Stay with us, there's more news after the break.
Join the Caribbean Broadcasting Union and its regional and international partners at the CBU Annual General Assembly, August 21st through 24th at the British Colonial Hilton Hotel in Nassau, the Bahamas, under the theme Digital Developments in Caribbean Media. Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, Dr. the Honorable Hubert Alexander Minnis, will welcome delegates during the opening ceremony. Guyana's Minister of Public Telecommunications, the Honorable Kathy Hughes, will offer a keynote address on digital developments in the region. See the launch of the UNESCO-sponsored Manual of Social Media Guidelines for Caribbean Journalists, with guest speaker Jamaica's Director of Public Prosecutions, Paula Llewellyn. And hear from international media players about the new developments in digital television standards in Europe, the US, and Japan. And this year's Caribbean Broadcasting Awards Gala at the Atlantis Resort Paradise Island is not to be missed. Call 246-430-1007 to book your space in the 3-day conference and exhibition. Don't miss the CBU 48th Assembly at the British Colonial Hilton Hotel in Nassau from August 21st through 24th. Discounts on flights to the assembly on the official airline, Caribbean Airlines.
It's time to explore, to feel, to love. St. Kitts, everything you've ever dreamed of, and more than you could have ever imagined. It's time to follow your heart. St. Kitts.
Welcome back. Guyana's Agriculture Minister Noel Holder says there is a need for economic stimulation in the region's agriculture sector. He made the call as he addressed the 32nd West Indies Agricultural Economics Conference. Holder told the gathering of agricultural stakeholders from around the region that there has to be a holistic approach to sustainable agricultural development.
There is now an opportunity to better emphasize the importance and the specificities of food and nutrition as the path to sustainable agricultural development. The conference can make a very timely and useful contribution to these various processes. I wish you all a successful discussion.
Minister Holder explained that the discussions and recommendations during this conference will contribute to the improvement of human capital throughout the region and is vital for the transformation of reality.
This clarion call is what has brought so many people here today from around the Caribbean. The Caribbean Agroeconomic Society has been a pioneer in linking agriculture and the environment from an economic and policy perspective. The work of your group is timely and relevant, and it indeed makes a difference to stimulate regional agriculture onto the path of development.
The Agriculture Minister noted that sustainable agricultural development in any country will need a holistic approach from different angles and different perspectives, and that it is important to take into account the diverse perspectives and approaches to consider very technical issues, animal health, plant health, and everything that makes up the food system, which will be modified by climate change.
Agricultural systems, food systems, are complex. They are biophysical systems, economic systems, and social systems. And these dimensions interact with each other at various scales, from local to global and vice versa.
The West Indies Agricultural Conference comes at a time when Guyana is known to have made significant strides in achieving a food-secured status and is among the 6 countries in the region to have achieved the Millennium Development Goal on hunger.
The Grenada government has allocated $30,000 to combat the citrus greening disease. A team from the Pest Control Management Unit will be visiting citrus farmers and other affected areas to try to contain the disease. Eugenia Peters of GBN News tells us more.
The ministry, through its Pest Control Unit, says the money will be used to help farmers cut and burn affected host trees and provide infrastructural support and training. The presence of the one gronbin, or citrus greening disease, was confirmed positively by a lab in Belize. Head of the Pest Control Unit, Thaddeus Peters, says there are some clear-cut signs of infestation that farmers should be on the lookout for.
We are not able to test every tree, but there are certain leaf and fruit symptoms that will guide you and indicate to you that you have citrus greening disease. Eventually, what happens is that it will lead to the death of the tree over an extended period. It could be 6, 8, 10 years. The tree will eventually die. The production will decline over a period also. So sometimes it is economically dead before it's physically dead.
As to how the disease entered the island is not known, but Chief Agriculture Officer Daniel Lewis suspects that it was through imported items by traffickers.
To travel to the United States, you see this big, do not know agriculture. And if they find you bringing anything that is not what, they will charge you big time. So similarly, we need to adhere to a lot of the quarantine requirements and so forth. You have anything and maybe you find out before, could I bring in that? Could I? Because the pest management unit, the Ministry of Agriculture normally provide input permits for certain things, and others we are not allowed to bring in because it threatens our agricultural industry.
The Ministry of Agriculture believes that the blame for the infestation should not be placed squarely on the shoulders of the ministry. Permanent Secretary Marina Jessamy says it's all about farmers' responsibility.
The management of the farm cannot be the responsibility of the ministry. We provide technical assistance and support, but the farmer will know what time they would have planted a tree and the peak production when they could expect it. And when they see that the production is not matching the expectation, they must inform the pest management unit. What we find is that some of the farmers are not always willing to invest in the necessary good agricultural practices, as he mentioned, because the pest is not only the main cause of the loss of production.
Grenada's present situation is not unique, as in 2009, Jamaica and Belize also confirmed the presence of the citrus greening disease, which originated from Brazil.
And ahead in Newsline Sport, the Caribbean gets his first goal at the IAAF Championship. Stay with us. Sport is next.
Welcome to SwiftPack, your online shopping and shipping solution. Receive the best rates, expert cargo management, and exceptional customer service. SwiftPack provides secure handling of your smallest packages to your largest cargo with speed and reliability. We invite you to use our US mailbox service, online shopping, ship air and ocean cargo from the supplier to your door. We handle it all for you. Get started now. Sign up for a free regular account or premium account, or give us a call on 440-6100. SwiftPack. You shop, we ship, you save.
Ahead on F4 US Championship today, a historic weekend for F4 here. The series making its first ever visit to the Brickyard. Can the Homestead Dominator keep his momentum? Or will one of the series returning young veterans be the driver to beat? And F4 teams on the rise. We're going global. That left this one all to Kyle Kirkwood, bagging his first victory of 2017.
Rager was right there on me going down into one. I pulled, I think, another 10 car lengths or so, probably a second away from Rager on the first couple laps.
Jamaica Olympic champion Omar McLeod handed the Caribbean its first gold medal of the IAAF World Championships when he clinched the sprint hurdles on Monday night. The 23-year-old clocked 13.04 seconds in the 110-meter hurdles, finishing ahead of defending champion Sergei Shubinov of Russia, who crossed the finish line in 13.14 seconds. Hungary took bronze in 13.28 seconds. The other Caribbean runners were Barbadian Shane Brathwaite, who finished sixth in 13.62 seconds, and Jamaican Hansley Parchment, who brought up the rear. McLeod put together an almost perfect race, executing cleanly from the most part to walk away with his first world title.
I had to go out there and I had to channel Omar McLeod. I had to do it the Omar McLeod way in order to win, and like I said, it was the toughest lineup ever, and I knew I had to get that start. I had to dominate from the start and take control of the race. It was a greatly executed race. I've been struggling with my start the whole championships, but like I said, I just really had to have fun with it and just let loose and just make it happen.
McLeod's win came on the heels of compatriots Usain Bolt and Elaine Thompson losing their races over the weekend. Bolt had to settle for his first ever bronze in the 100-meter, while Thompson finished fifth in the women's 100-meter final.
I mean, I want to be historic, you know, and I want to settle. I'm not just about hurdling, you know, world indoor Olympic world champion. You know, I think I've done it all for hurdling. So I just need to break that world record now and just experiment a little more with different events.
Meantime, McLeod indicated that he doesn't intend to focus only on hurdling for the rest of his athletic career. He told reporters after his victory that he will be turning attention to other events, possibly the 100 meters and 200 meters before this season ends. But he says for sure by next year he will be focusing on sprints. Jamaica's Sunshine Girls have withdrawn from the Senior Caribbean Netball Championship scheduled for St. Lucia later this month amidst concerns that their participation will hurt their international ranking. Jamaica is currently ranked 4th in the world with 149 rating points and would have been the highest ranked side in the August 19 to 26 showpiece. The championships have been classified as a ranking tournament for the first time, and Netball Jamaica said based on an analysis carried out, even if the Sunshine Girls played unbeaten, they stood to lose up to 5 ratings points. That would effectively widen the gap between Jamaica and England, which currently holds 3rd place in the world rankings, to 15 points. It would also narrow the difference in rating points between Jamaica and South Africa, which is ranked just below the Caribbean side, from 15 points to 8. Jamaica's netballers have long been the powerhouses of the sport in the Caribbean, reaching the semi-finals of the last World Cup in Sydney before losing to eventual champions Australia. They came away from that out in 4th in the international rankings. Trinidad and Tobago's hockey men beat Brazil on Tuesday afternoon to seal a spot in the semi-finals of the Pan American Hockey Cup being played in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. The Caribbean men edged out Brazil 2-1 to finish second in Group B and get a step closer to the finals of the prestigious competition. Marcus Pascal scored the first goal for Trinidad and Tobago in the 26th minute before Brazil's Bruno Sousa evened the score 15 minutes later in the 41st minute. But it was Trinidad and Tobago's youngest team member who took the boys from Port of Spain over the top. The 47th minute goal from 16-year-old forward Teague Macano gave the Twin Island Republic the win. The young Macano said it was a hard-fought match.
We went through a similar situation like this in the World League Round 2 against USA. Same scoreline. Coming on to the end, it get pretty tough. We just have to stick together and stick to the tactics, and that's what we did, and we got the win.
Trinidad and Tobago will play in the Pan American Cup semi-final against Group A winners Argentina on Thursday at 5 p.m. The winner of this tournament will qualify for the FIH World Cup, and the top 6 teams will qualify for the Pan American Cup in 2021. Pakistani Shadab Khan grabbed man of the match honours for the 2nd straight game as Trinbago Knight Riders beat St. Lucia Stars for the 2nd time in 4 days in the Caribbean Premier League in Port of Spain on Monday night. Chasing 119 for victory at Queen's Park Oval, TKR recovered from a dire position of 75 for 6 in the 10th over to reach their target in the 16th and register a comfortable 4-wicket win in the end. Shadab emerged as the unlikely batting hero, stroking an unbeaten 30 of 33 balls with a 4 and a 6 in an unbroken 7th wicket stand of 45 with Barbadian Javon Searles, who finished on 27 not out of 21 deliveries with 2 4s and 2 6s. Former West Indies off-spinner Shane Shillingford had wrecked the top order to end with 4 for 24 from 4 overs, leaving the Stars with a chance to win their first game. The TKR were 33 for 1 in the 3rd over after losing Sunil Narayan cheaply for 11 in the 2nd over, but Shillingford's introduction rocked the innings as 4 wickets tumbled for 19 runs in the space of 21 deliveries. However, Shadab showed his worth with the bat in defying the Stars' attack, while Scantlebury flexed his muscle to lash 2 6s and a 4 of the 16th over to end the game swiftly. West Indies rookie left-hander Shimron Hetmeyer shone, but opener Craig Brathwaite suffered his 3rd straight failure as the 3-day tour game against Kent finished in a draw on Tuesday. Before lightning and bad lighting ended play abruptly, West Indies had reached 132 for 4 at the Kent County ground. They were slumping at 50 for 3 before the 20-year-old Hetmeyer stroked an enterprising unbeaten 43, while Shea Hope got 30 and opener Kieran Powell 23 to lead the Caribbean side's rival. But Brathwaite fell without scoring to follow up his first innings 8 and 2 in the 2nd innings of the opening tour game against Essex at Chelmsford. Seamer Charlie Hartley was among the wickets with 2 for 44 to to follow up his first innings for wicket haul. Batting coach Toby Radford said afterward the Windies batsmen had received a good workout during the contest. West Indies will face Derbyshire in their third three-day tour game starting Friday in Derby. The game will be a day-night affair in preparation for the pink ball first test against England at Edgbaston, again beginning on August 17. Barbados were crowned champions of the regional under-15 championship when they beat Trinidad and Tobago by 15 runs in the final round of the tournament. Needing just a point to clinch their fourth title, Barbados claimed full honours from the contest at North Stars in the rural northern parish of St. Lucie last Friday, ending on 26.4 points. Leeward Islands, meantime, finished second on 19.8 points after beating Windward Islands by 59 runs, while Guyana, who finished fourth on 14.7 points, snatched a 26-run win over Jamaica. Windward finished third on 13.9 points. Jamaica were fifth on 7.6, while winless Trinidad and Tobago were last on 1.7. And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Now you are watching Caribbean Vibrations, the 2017 edition of Barbados on the Water, with the sweet singing sounds of Mr. Biggie Irie. How are you doing, sir?
Good, man. Good to be here again.
Again, exactly. So for people who missed it today, tell them all about Barbados on the Water.
It was great. It was a great. I think it's the best one I've ever come to. This year was even greater. There were more people this year, and it all augurs well for the future, you know.
Grow your business or promote your event through the services offered by the Caribbean Media Corporation and CaribVision. Our distribution provides a platform on cable, terrestrial television, and websites. We cover carnivals and events from across the region. We can bring your event live and alive to the world. For music makers, program producers, businesses, we can expand your reach to in excess of 2 million households daily. Our other services include news updates to enhance your media products, studio space for program and development. We can facilitate the launch of new products and services and training. Contact us and we will help you unleash your creative ability, develop products and services, and provide the medium to watch them grow. Contact Loretta Skeet at cmccaribbean.com or call her 1-246-467-1044 or 1-246-253-3889. Call and book your carnival or event today. Again, the major developments of this day: shooting marks the climax of the annual Crop Over Festival in Barbados. And in sport, Jamaica Olympic champion Omar McLeod wins the Caribbean's first gold medal of the IAAF World Championships in the 110-meter hurdles. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, log on to CarnaNews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow, but from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and have yourselves a good night.